The Syrian Christians claimed their church was founded by the Apostle Thomas himself. Islam, meanwhile, came by sea in the 7th century with Arab traders, peacefully, not as elsewhere by war and conquest. So here today in Chandamangalam, Hindu, Christian, Muslim and Jew live side by side. All these people of different faiths, says Krishna in the Gita, whatever form of worship they choose to fulfill their desires, ultimately their worship comes back to the same source. In the north, the impact of Islam was very different. India is full of riches, wrote the Muslim historian al-Biruni, entirely beautiful and delightful. And as its people are mainly infidels and idolaters, it is right by order of God for us to conquer them. Within a few decades of the Prophet's death, Islam had swept westwards to Spain and eastwards to the Indus Valley. Eventually, Muslim attacks shattered the old Hindu kingdoms of the north. Benares itself fell in 1194, and in the heart of the city you can still see what results from asserting by force the unique truth of one faith over another. Mosques built out of the ruins of Hindu temples, smashed Hindu walls sticking out of the back of a Muslim prayer hall. Religion itself is outraged, said Mahatma Gandhi, when outrage is done in its name. These tragedies initiated a long and tortuous relationship between Hindu and Muslim, which both enriched India and, even in our own time, has threatened to tear it apart. In Benares, the Muslims became the mainstay of the city's economy. The thousands of silk weavers like Subhan Ali and his sons, with their tiny shops and handlooms, are all Muslim. It was here in the 15th century that the poor weaver Kabir preached the brotherhood of Hindu and Muslim. But in 1991, a rising tide of Hindu fundamentalism saw their looms smashed, saris burned and livelihoods ruined, as India's ideal of unity and diversity went through a new ordeal of fire. A mixed Hindu and Muslim culture arose in the north. And in the 16th century, there was yet another brilliant flowering of Indian civilization, the Mughals. The Mughal Empire created an art and architecture which still defines our popular image of India today, in its flamboyant mixture of Hindu, Persian and Muslim. This is Fatehpur Sikri, founded in 1569 near Agra by Akbar the Great. Akbar commissioned a great translation of the Mahabharata into Persian, along with these exquisite paintings. He came to understand that the only way to rule India, indeed any civilization, is with tolerance and pluralism, and increasingly he was drawn to the deepest currents in Indian thought.
The most fascinating aspect of Akbar's career, and surely the one that's most relevant to us today, was his attempt to find a synthesis of all the religions in his empire. It could only ever have happened, one imagines, in a heady religious climate of India. And it's all the more remarkable because Akbar was brought up a devout Muslim and he was illiterate. His tutors unanimously condemned him as a bad pupil. But impressed by the terrible evils which are unleashed by religious intolerance, and perhaps motivated by political considerations, Akbar summoned holy men from the Hindus and the Jains, the Christians and the Jews, the Zoroastrians, even Mandeans from Persia, along with Sunni and Shia Muslims. And out of their discussions, he attempted to formulate a simple belief in God, a doctrine of right conduct which strangely echoes Ashoka, even though Akbar knew nothing of him, and nor, it seems, of Buddhism. Akbar was even prepared to acknowledge the rightness of the case for vegetarianism, although as a good meat-eating mogul, that was one aspect that he couldn't fulfill in his personal life. One of his friends at court said that Akbar had the one quality which makes a ruler truly great, namely the capacity to meet people of whatever rank or whatever religion with the same eye of favour. His tolerance would be remarkable even today, I think. But in the 16th century, Western Europe, for example, was torn apart by religious wars, with unspeakable cruelties being done to people in the name of God. Akbar's noble ideals were, of course, doomed to failure. But his insight into the Indian predicament was not lost on Pandit Nehru in the 1940s, nor on Mahatma Gandhi, who insisted that all religions are true. Here in Fatehpur Sikri, at the Gate of Victory, this great son of a great Muslim dynasty left us this epitaph. Jesus, peace be on him, said this: "The world is a bridge, cross it, but build no house upon it. The world endures for but an hour, spend it in devotion, the rest is unseen."
City of dreams was deserted because of lack of water. Today, Fatehpur Sikri lies high and dry on its ridge near Agra. His empire had created a unified state, giving the same rights to Muslim and Hindu. An empire of the sword had succumbed to the empire of the spirit. Now it has become clear to me, Akbar wrote, that in our troubled world, so full of contradictions, it cannot be wisdom to assert the unique truth of one faith over another. The wise person makes justice his guide and learns from all. Perhaps in this way, the door may be opened again, whose key has been lost. In the far south of India, a verdant and fecund land of temples, the Tamils escaped the full Muslim impact, and here the ancient Hindu vision of unity survived. From ancient times, the Tamil shore was frequented by Greek and Roman traders. Here, said their poets, beautiful great ships of the Greeks bearing gold came splashing on the white foam to return laden with spices. And in their turn, the Tamils would later spread Hindu culture as far as Java and Cambodia. The Tamils left brilliant legacies in poetry, painting and sculpture. But their finest creations were in bronze. Among their masterpieces is this image of Shiva. The wild god of prehistory is here transformed by the Tamil sensibility into a sinuous and sensuous cowherd with a turban of snakes. This was cast in one piece in 1011, 400 years before Donatello in Florence. There'd been nothing like it since the ancient Greeks.